In this room is the past, present and future of Australia's pulse industry. The plant breeders from around the country who for the past 5 years have been PBA in action. Prior to 2006, pulse breeding had been mainly state-based, but with PBA came the opportunity to do more.
The resources that we were applying through state departments, universities and GRDC around the country was fragmented, and we needed to bring this together so that we could capture some synergies and specialise in areas that different states had strengths in.
Breeding programs were nationalised under PBA, and in its first 5 years, 9 new pulse varieties have been released. For Chairman Mark Sweetingham, a highlight has been the work of the chickpea breeding program.
Ascochyta blight was a devastating fungal disease that pretty much wiped the chickpea industry out in southern Australia and much of the north as well in about 1988, 1989. We've been able to, in a relatively shorter period of time now, produce varieties with very good levels of resistance to get growers back on track against that hideous disease.
Ted Knights from New South Wales has been leading the chickpea breeding program, and while Ascochyta resistance will result in cost savings through reduced reliance on fungicides, it's not the breeding program's only focus.
We need to combine that Ascochyta resistance with other important traits such as improved seed quality, yield. We can always improve on yield, harvestability, and for the north, Phytophthora resistance is also important, and another one that reared its ugly head last year, Botrytis grey mould.
Ted Knight's chickpea success, along with the release of other superior pulse varieties, has given PBA an encouraging start.
No one in PBA, I think, would want to go back to the way it was. I think they really believe that this is a much, much better way of doing business.
Business in the form of an unincorporated joint venture between GRDC, Pulse Australia, state agencies and the University of Adelaide.
The aim was to ensure that the programs were nationally coordinated, that they had good market intelligence coming into the programs, that we accessed enabling technologies and we used those both nationally and internationally. So we were trying to build a very collegiate pulse breeding program for Australia, and to use that as a large group of investment to leverage off other investment, and I think that's happened.
Another business strategy that separates PBA from the older state-based pulse breeding programs is the involvement of seed production companies early in the breeding cycle.
The seed commercialiser sees an opportunity to really invest in the program because it's in their interests to do that, and to ensure that the best lines get released as varieties in that time frame. And that has happened pretty successfully. We've got some good examples of that happening in lentils with PB seeds, and that commercial partnership really paying off so that they're bulking up lines early on, and when we go to market for seed, we're going with tons of seed, not a cupful of seed.
For this successful pulse breeding venture, there's one thing that onlookers might not have thought necessary for such a relatively new enterprise: the replacement of its key personnel.
A lot of our breeders have been in the game for quite a long time, and we've got a role to ensure that we've got a succession plan for a new generation of younger breeders coming along that can take on the good work that's been done over the past 5-10 years and project that into the future.
It's critical that you have that sort of competency, and we're very lucky that even within PBA we had a couple of options, but the person that's going to take my position, Dr. Christy Hobson from Horsham, has actually been working as a chickpea breeder for the last 7 or 8 years. So she'll fill my shoes, and I'm sure she'll probably even do a better job.
As for PBA's future over the next 5 years,
the big sleeper is what's going to happen with the price of nitrogen. As the price of bag nitrogen goes up, and that tends to happen, it's tied in pretty close to the international oil price, the cost of putting nitrogenous fertiliser on wheat and oilseeds crops goes up enormously. And we mustn't underestimate the value that the pulses put in terms of fixing nitrogen that's left there with residual benefit for the following crops.
And the future for retiring plant breeders like Ted Knights?
I'll be around, and if I'm needed, I'll be available. What I'm mindful of not doing is making a nuisance of myself. But I'm sure I'll miss it. But life goes on.